So I retired in January 2024 at the age of 50. My goal was to always retire early out of corporate America. What I didn't plan for was getting cancer again. Hello, my name is Michelle. If you're new to my channel, welcome to 50 Free and Blessed. This is a channel that I created to basically give my honest truth about retiring early out of corporate America. I know a lot of people on channels are talking about retiring, but there's so many things that you have to consider and you need to be prepared. So for me, like I said, I was diagnosed with cancer for the second time, and that was in October 24 of the year I retired in. So to take a step back, the first time I was diagnosed with cancer, I was only 32 years old. I found the lump myself. I was actually on a business trip and I was talking to my then fiance, and I just happened to, rub over here on my left breast, and I felt something and kind of felt weird to me. Didn't think a whole lot about it, but I knew it didn't feel normal. It wasn't like when you were back in, I don't know if it was middle school, I think it was middle school, where they showed you how to do a breast exam and all that. It didn't feel like that type of knot. So when I got back off my business trip, I went to see my OBGYN, and she said the same thing. She said, well, it doesn't feel like what it typically feels like, with a lump, for cancer. She said, but we're not going to take any chances. So she sent me to get a needle biopsy. If you don't know anything about me, one thing you should know is I hate needles. I know nobody really likes needles, but when I say I hate them, I just try to avoid them at all costs. Even when it's time to give blood, I would rather give you money than give you blood, because I avoid needles at all costs if I can. But either way, I had to do a needle biopsy, and what they did was they go in with a needle. They're basically pulling out, tissue and things so they can sample it to see if it's cancerous. And they went in two spots. They went in on my breast, and then they went in on my lymph nodes. When it came back, my OBGYN, she called me personally, and she told me, she said, yes, you do have cancer, and it had metastasized. It had spread from my breast to my lymph nodes. So that meant that when it came time to surgery, it wasn't close enough where they could do one, incision to get all of the cancer. They had to do two. They had to do one on my breast to remove the lump, and then they had to go under my arm and my lymph nodes, and they removed about 12 to 13 lymph nodes. So now for my left arm, I don't get any blood pressure, needles, anything like that, because you have a lymphedema risk, meaning your arm could swell up because you don't have all of the lymph nodes that typically protect you from certain bruises and scars and things like that. So I avoid that, which is why I wear my lymphedema alert bracelet. But that was the first time I got cancer. It was diagnosed as a stage 3 because of the size and that it had metastasized. So the treatment that I got, I don't know the proper name for it, but the letters was TAC, T-A-C. So you can look it up, because this was over 20 years ago when I was diagnosed with this. But the first letter is, each letter is a actual poison, medicine, whatever you want to say. I say it's poison that they're putting in your body, but that's what I did. So I did TAC, and I had 6 weeks of that. So I would go in for a treatment, and then 3 weeks later, I would come back in for another treatment. So that was over 18 weeks, with, 6 treatments that I had to do. And the good thing about it was I didn't have major reactions to it. I mean, I did lose all my hair. So now when you see my hair, it is natural. I haven't had a relaxer in my hair since that. Once that happened, I just went natural with it. So I wear my hair natural now, but I lost hair everywhere. I had numbness, my nails turned black or darkened and everything. I was a little tired, but not as tired as some people say. It could have been worse, but I made it through that. One thing that I had to do that I hated even more was after I had my treatment, the very next day they wanted me to come back to get this Neulasta shot, and they did it in the back of your neck. And the reason for it is because my oncologist said that your white blood cells can get low when you're going through chemotherapy treatment. So she wanted to make sure I had the Neulasta shot. I hated it. It was something they kept in the refrigerator. They had to warm it up, and then they put it in the back, of your neck. And it was, it made my body so sore, afterwards, which I thought was the craziest thing because the chemo didn't make my body sore, but that Neulasta shot did. So went through all of that treatment. After I finished my chemotherapy, I then had to do 6.5 weeks of radiation. And it darkened all of this side of my body. It's lighter now, but you can still see traces of it. And that was 20 years ago. I guess after the surgery and all these years and everything, I still have a sensitivity because there was nerve damage. My surgeon told me, she said, if I have to risk a nerve to get to the cancer, I'm going to do that. I can't blame her. I would have did the same thing, but I do have sensitivity there. So that was all 20 years ago. I retire in January 2024, which was my dream, to retire out of corporate America at the age of 50. October, I was diagnosed again with cancer. The blessing with that is it was stage 0. Like I said, when I got it the first time, it was stage 3. This one was stage 0. They caught it so quick. It was just little white dots that was on my my scan, my x-ray or whatever, because I was in getting a breast exam. And I just thank God that this doctor was doing their job, that they didn't just like, oh, it's just, white dots or whatever, because they say it's common. But she didn't take, she didn't take it lightly. She knew what my story was, so she basically sent it through, got it blown up, and she was like, no, we need to get you tested. So another needle biopsy and the skin graft, which it was a little different with the way they did it this time, because they were cutting off, certain sections. Cancer was located, and I think they call it a sit-to-you, basically in the milk ducts. I don't know the proper name for it, but that's where it was located, in the milk ducts. Same breast, which I'm like, oh my goodness, but stage 0. I did not have to do chemo. I did not have to do radiation, so it was a blessing. There's always a blessing with anything that happens, and this just refocused me again, because the first time I got it, it made me just think so much more about my life and what I wanted to do, which is why I had put in place that I wanted to retire at 50, because I know so many people who retired, and I'm sweating out here, guys, it is hot, but I wanted to make sure there was enough lighting. But they retired and they were in their late 60s or whatever, and some of them passed away after they retired. I did not want to be that person. I wanted to be able to live my life, because you're supposed to enjoy retirement. So when I got it the second time, it just refocused me, again, back on the purpose that I had, which was to retire early, to have fun. And when this happened that second time, yes, I was just as scared, but it was such a blessing to know that it was not that major. But I wanted to do this video just to talk with people, because I know there's someone who has just gotten a diagnosis, they're going through cancer right now, and heaven forbid, I don't want it to happen to anybody, but cancer, especially breast cancer, is so prominent. It's going to happen, within your circle. It could be you. If it's you, I just want you to know it's not the end. Just keep your faith, believe that you can get through it, and just do everything that you can to make sure that you don't bring yourself down during that time. I know it's easier said than done, but if you get that diagnosis and you automatically start thinking the worst, it makes it worse on you. You have to stay positive. And I did after, I got through a couple of weeks and got used to the fact that I had cancer that first time. But it took a little bit. I mean, I was only 31. That's really young in my opinion. And then this last time that I got it, I was 51, because I retired at 50 and then I had a birthday, turned 51. So I was 51 the second time I had it. But anybody that's going through it, if there is anything that you want to know, I'm not a doctor. I can just tell you how I felt and what I went through, but I'm here for you. If you need to talk, whatever it is, just drop a comment below, and I'm sure other people will want to chime in as well, because we need a community for us to be able to talk with other people. It's not about getting clicks and trying to get monetized, but we can come together as a community and be able to help each other. So I hope this helped you out. If there's any questions, like I said, leave a comment below. Please subscribe to the channel, and I'm going to continue giving you my honest truth about retiring at the age of 50. Thank you for listening to my story.